गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. Which verse we are in? 16. 16. Yeah. Did we chant this? No. Yastannavaartikamaneka-vichitra-yukti Yastannavaartikamaneka-vichitra-yukti संशोभितं निगमजीवनमातताना संशोभितं निगमजीवनमातताना भट्टस्य तस्य बुधसंहति संस्तुतस्य भट्टस्य तस्य बुधसंहति संस्तुतस्य वेषान्तरं तु निगमान्तवचो विचारी वेषान्तरं तु निगमान्तवचो विचारी. Together. यस्तन्नवार्तिकमनेकविचित्रयुक्ति संशोभितं निगमजीवनमातताना भट्टस्य तस्य बुधसंहति संस्तुतस्य वेषान्तरं तु निगमान्तवचो विचारी. He is a reincarnation of Kumarila Bhatta, praised by assemblies of scholars, the authors of Tantra Vartika, elixir of the Vedas, brilliant with various ingenious ideas in his birth. However, he elucidates the teachings of Vedanta alone. Kumarila Bhatta was a scholar living in Varanasi, 8th century we are talking about, during Shankaracharya's time. It is this Kumarila Bhatt who became Sureshwaracharya, the first Shankaracharya of Sringeri Math. And what happened there, you know the story, but in short, Kumarila Bhatt was challenged by Shankaracharya because he was following the nihilist path, the Buddhist path, and Shankaracharya was following the Vedic path, the Vedantic path. Because this is towards the end of the Buddhist era. Buddhist era lasted for almost 2500 years, from the time of Buddha till here, and then anything that comes into creation reaches its peak, then it goes down. Similarly, this also went up and it came down, and then it was the Sanatana Dharma was reignited by Shankaracharya through the Vedanta philosophy. Before that, what was there? There were gods, there were Yoga Sutras, etc. But Vedanta, Sankhya Yoga was there, various other philosophy, logic, Nyaya, this, that. But Vedanta was not there. Vedanta is brought to the fore by Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya, first 16 years he was a student, second 6 years he was the propagator of Vedanta. In those 16 years he composed so many things. And when he reached Varanasi, he challenged. And who, see the faith and the courage of Shankaracharya, who was the mediator, who was the referee between the debate between Kumarila Bhatt and Shankaracharya? Kumarila Bhatt's wife. She is the Saraswati. She was also following the Tantrika marg of the Buddhists. And eventually Kumarila Bhatt he could not answer the question that was posed to him by Adi Shankaracharya. He accepted defeat, and the wife, yes, he is defeated. He says, I leave everything that I know till now, and I will follow your path. That time there were no wars. The people used to convince the other people of their way of life, and they used to if they are convinced, if they were able to convince, then the king, if the scholars are convinced, the pandits are convinced in the court, then king has to follow that. If king has to follow, the entire population has to change to follow that. That was how it was that time. So this Kumarila Bhatt, then Hastamalaka and Sureshwaracharya and Totakacharya and one more was there. So these were the four jewels of Shankaracharya, and each one was given the place of charge. Badrinath was Totakacharya, Sureshwaracharya was in charge of the Sringeri Math, Totakacharya was in, I think, east, Puri Math, and one more was there for the Dwarka Math. So, Padmapadacharya. And then one more extra was created, which was not a part of these four, that was the Kanchi Math, the center. But this Kumarila Bhatt, then he starts following Shankaracharya, gets training under Shankaracharya, the thought training of Vedanta, comes to realize, and then he is placed as the first pontiff of the Sringeri Math. And to that ashram, to that Math, we belong. All Saraswatis, we belong to that. So here he is saying that he is the reincarnation. So Ramana Maharishi is the third incarnation of the son of Shiva, who is Subramaniam Swami. First he came as Kumarila Bhatt, and the explanation is given there. Now in the 17th verse, Vedashirshachaya Sangraham, Vedashirshachaya Sangraham, Pancharatnamarunachalayasya yaha, Pancharatnamarunachalasya yaha, Guptamalpamapi sarvato mukham, Guptamalpamapi sarvato mukham, Sutra bhutamatanodimam gurum, Sutra bhutamatanodimam gurum. Together, Vedashirshachaya Sarasangraham, Pancharatnamarunachalasya yaha, Guptamalpamapi sarvato mukham, Sutra bhutamatanodimam gurum. He is the master who composed Arunachala Pancharatna, the 5 gems of Arunachala, the quintessence of Vedantic utterances, brief like sutras but all comprehensive and filled with hidden meaning. And those are, is it in this book? Is किताब में है? Okay. Arunachala Pancharatnam. क्या है ट्यून भाई इसकी? करुणा पूर्ण सुधाब्धे कबलित धन विश्वरूप किरणावल्य. You read it yourself, otherwise we will go beyond 4 o'clock. So these are the 5 verses which he has given here. And what are these 5 verses? These 5 verses are perfect step-by-step growth of a seeker in order to be established in the truth. And who is writing this? Who does not know Sanskrit? It were revealed to him. And this is not very out of the box thinking. I have come across a girl, I have told many times, again I will repeat, how does it matter? She was a disciple, she used to serve, she used to clean the room of Tejo Menanji, she used to dust the room whenever Swamiji is not there. If he is traveling, she used to come and keep the room clean, spick and span all the time in the ashram in Bombay. And she was there when we were studying there, so she was always around, and whenever she is free, she used to go to work. In the evenings when she used to come, she used to attend the classes. She was allowed because she was so dedicated. And one day she comes and my first Satya Sai Baba photograph she presented to me, and one day she became close. In the sense, she used to tell me her experiences. And one day, after many years, after I had come to Australia, then I went back somewhere after 2-3 years later, one day I went to the ashram and she met me and she says, Swamiji, I want to tell you something. Brahmachari that time. I said, what? She says, I want to show you something. And quietly from her bag, she took out a piece of paper in which she has written there were some Sanskrit verses. She has not studied Sanskrit, she doesn't know poetry, she doesn't know music, nothing. Only knows how to dust the room and go to work in some factory, whatever she was working. And we used to call her Hanuman, Swamiji's Hanuman, because always there. So I said, what is this? I read, very beautiful. She says, you know how it came? I said, you wrote it? She said, no, I didn't write. Guruji wrote. I said, Guruji wrote. How did he write? She sleeps in her room, but on the floor. The bed that she has in the room is for her Guruji, and she lies on the floor. She wakes him up, gives him a tea, she gives him a lunch or whatever. Every evening she puts the Guruji to sleep. It's just imaginary, but her only bhav. And one day she says, I was sleeping and suddenly I was getting these flashes of these verses and I didn't know what to do. And next night, that day I tried to remember after getting up, I couldn't write it down because I'd forgotten already. So next time I kept a piece of paper and pen next to my head and I went to sleep on the floor. And when these flashes came, suddenly my hand went to the pen and paper. I don't know what it wrote because I am in that and these verses came out in Sanskrit. Never not studied Sanskrit. Just like Beethoven came out with the music, never studied music. How does these things happen? Do these things happen? See? So just like that, here, let's not go into, where are we? Just like that, Raman Maharishi, Bhagwan Raman Maharishi is the master who composed Arunachala Pancharatna, the 5 gems of Arunachala, which is a complete step-by-step evolution of an individual seeker into the Vedantic truth. And in this manner, this is what? Which I'm getting confused in these verses now. Which verse was that? 17th verse, okay. 17th verse. 17th verse. And what does Bhagavad Gita tell us about the sequence of growth, sequence of subtlety and eventual abidance? How do you begin? You always begin in, what is the first step? No. I knew you were going, someone was going to say karma. What is the first?
Listening.
Confusion.
Right
First step is confusion. Identity crisis. That what am I doing in this life, man? I don't know. Then grace comes. And then you get into, first step is karma. Do what is right. Next, as a result of purification, you go into dhyana. From dhyana, you go into expansion of your mind, which is devotion. From devotion, you go into jnana, which is knowledge. Knowledge of not something, knowledge of the self. What is the true nature of this I? This is the step by step, which in Bhagavad Gita over 18 chapters, these 5 verses are expanded. But here Ramana Maharishi, in his unique style, it must have been revealed to him, the entire crux. Sutras are equations. E is equal to mc square is a sutra. It is not it's an equation. You can take E and you can write thesis on it. You can say equal to, you can write a thesis on it. One thesis. Similarly, each verse here is a sutra which completely encompasses the entire journey of a seeker from not knowing anything to be abiding in the infinite self. This only great masters can reveal. हम क्या करेंगे? कुछ नहीं करेंगे. सब्जी कैसी बनी है? How is the dal? How is the vegetable? how much you are taking, how much I am taking, what will do for the milk. This is what we can work out. Nothing else. It requires special disposition. It requires self attention. And when the attention of the mind is towards the self, that particular mind will automatically, by the divine grace, divine will, whatever you may say, will express unique beauties which will not just, there is nothing for the seeker to help him because his attention is continuously on the self. Those beauties, they will serve or help or guide the masses. And that's what is told here. Continuing in the 19th verse. Right, the 18th verse. Devavachi Sudharama Shikshitam. Devavachi Sudharama Shikshitam. Kavya Gandharahitam Chayadyapi. Kavya Gandharahitam Chayadyapi. Granthakarmani tathapi sansfurat. Granthakarmani tathapi sansfurat. Bhashitanuchara bhava sanchayam. Bhashitanuchara bhava sanchayam. Together, Devavachi Sudharama Shikshitam. Kavya Gandharahitam Chayadyapi. Granthakarmani tathapi sansfurat. Bhashitanuchara bhava sanchayam. Though not at all trained in the language of the gods, Sanskrit. Why language of the gods? The Sanskrit Bhasha is called language. Sanskrit language is called Devanagari. Nagari is the language spoken by the people of the divine realm. Devanagari. So that language which the gods speak. What is that language? Sanskrit. And acquainted with, not acquainted. So who is Ramana Maharishi? Not at all trained in Sanskrit, not at all trained in poetry. He is yet the author of works wherein crowds of brilliant ideas trail behind the inspired expressions. And we see this in Upadesha Sar Karturadhyaya Pyapyate Phalam Karma Kim Param Karma Tajjadam. Now you don't know this is just the one verse I am singing of that. It's such a beautiful composition, the entire Upadesha, but written by whom? Who doesn't know poetry. Written by whom? Who does not know Sanskrit also. Yeah. It's a wonder, isn't it? Such is our Ramana Maharishi. I give you one example of this lady, young, she is elder to me, but at that time also she was elder to me only. How can she be younger to me at that time? That time also elder to me. But she composed. See, look at Kabir Das, look at Mirabai, look at so many. There is one Dongreji Maharaj. He was blind, and even in that blind, he composed hundreds and thousands of verses. He wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote, even though he was blind. And all those compositions have been published now, and it's so amazing. Surdas, he was born blind in Varanasi, and he was a devotee of Ram. And what compositions he has done. Read it in Vinay Patrika if you have that. See? So these are just few examples, and it may not be our reality at this moment, but if we can invoke that abidance and purify our mind and abide in the truth, call it God or call it the infinite reality, these things are not, they are daily occurrence then, in some way or the other. So our Ramana Maharishi also, Arunachala, Aksharmala, Upadesh Sar, Sad Darshanam, all these and etc. They were Arunachala Pancharatnam. These were different compositions, and all of them are in Sanskrit, which he has written. And they are just moments of inspirations, and it has sprouted out of him. And when these things happen, when it sprouts out of the mouth of a master, it's not a willful expression, it's a spontaneous one. For that spontaneity to occur, the ego has to dissolve. Then spontaneity occurs. See? Lokamatrukucha dugdhapayina, Lokamatrukucha dugdhapayina, Shankarastava kruto mahakave, Shankarastava kruto mahakave, Dravida dvija shishor natatgiro, Dravida dvija shishor natatgiro, Bhumikantaram aparamedhasam, Bhumikantaram aparamedhasam, Lokamatrukucha dugdhapayinah, Shankarastava kruto mahakave, Dravida dvija shishor natatgiro, Bhumikantaram aparamedhasam. Again, this boundless genius is another advent of the master poet, the twice born Tamil child who, drinking the breast milk of the mother of the universe, sang in the dancing tunes the praises of Lord Shiva. So, remember Subramaniam Swami, the elder brother of Ganpati, Lord Ganpati, the first son of Shiva and Parvati, is Subramaniam Swami. He was, the first incarnation of him was Kumarila Bhatt, who became Sureshwaracharya, the first Acharya of the Sringeri Mutt. Second incarnation of his was as this as this master poet. What is his name? Jnana Sambandha. And he also composed so many poetries and served the world through those poetries. So it is popularly accepted that Jnana Sambandha also was the incarnation of Subramaniam Swami. Now eventually it will come that Ramana Maharishi is the third incarnation of that Subramaniam Swami. So continuing in the 20th verse, Bhutale tviha trutiyam udbhavam, Bhutale tviha trutiyam udbhavam, Krauncha bhumidhara randrakarinaha, Krauncha bhumidhara randrakarinaha, Brahmanishtita dasha pravadarshanaat, Brahmanishtita dasha pravadarshanaat, Yuktivadati mirasya shantaye, Yuktivadati mirasya shantaye, Bhutale tviha trutiyam udbhavam, Krauncha bhumidhara randrakarinaha, Brahmanishtita pradarshanat, Yuktivadati mirasya shantaye. This is the third appearance here on the earth of the God who pierced of yore the Krauncha hill, and now he has come to quell the darkness of mere logic by providing a living example of abidance in Brahman, pure being. Who is this Krauncha hill? Krauncha hill is an inert hill. What is this inertness? There is this among the 6 philosophies within the Sanatana Dharma, the Nyaya philosophy, the Sankhya philosophy, the nihilist philosophy, Vedanta philosophy. There is one more philosophy, what is the name called? Which accepts that there is nothing before birth, there is nothing after death. Just enjoy and make merry and finish it off. No. Mimamsa is one.
Suna.
Huh?
Suna.
What?
Emptiness.
Huh?
Suna. Sun. Emptiness. Suna.
No. That is nihilist. There, move. It's on my tongue. It will come. So, Charvaka philosophy, Charvaka's philosophy is this: they only live at the level of senses. What I see is I believe. What I cannot see, I don't believe. So this is the Krauncha hill. I see so it peers through that. That what you see is not real. It's phenomena. It is not real.
That's Western philosophy.
Pardon me.
Western philosophy as well.
See, we do not say that it is only Western philosophy. It is practiced maybe more there, but India having population 1.3 billion, we will have more people following that. The West, slowly the West is getting. If you go to Ramana Ashram, you find more Westerners. You go to Satya Sai Baba Ashram, you find more Westerners. You go to Neem Karoli Baba, you find more Westerners. You go to Heda Khan Baba Ashram, you find only Westerners. Indians you don't find. Why? They are after what the Westerners were, money. And what are Westerners? They have made the money. They say, hey, there is no answer in this money. Then where is the answer? Oh, let's go to India. They are teaching Sanskrit in their universities and in schools. India is removing Sanskrit from there. It doesn't feel the importance of Sanskrit. Well, now it is reviving it, but the previous governments, they were hell-bent on removing Sanskrit from. They were making Indians forget their own lineage, their own culture, their own greatness. See? That is, so all that is here when he says that who pierced the yore of Krauncha hill, meaning he broke through the philosophy of Charvakas and re-established. Every master, whenever he appears, a realized master, whenever he appears on this earth, it is only for one purpose. What is that? Paritranaya sadhunam, maybe not vinashaya cha duskritam, but Buddha's philosophy also, you see, he did it out of compassion. Krishna did it through the instrument of Arjuna. Ramana Maharishi did it with silence. Each master is doing it in a different way. What is that? To re-establish righteousness, to remove the evil, to re-establish dharma, paritranaya sadhunam, to protect the Godward people, those who are committed to the truth, to protect them. So paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya cha duskritam, dharma sansthapanarthaya, to re-establish the righteousness, sambhavami yuge yuge, great masters or God himself or that one reality itself as if takes the form, reincarnates as the great saints and sages to help the society. See? And that greatness is lurking in every one of us, provided we become available to it. Then that reality will use this instrument also, because you become empty. The reality is continuously seeking out which car can I use to get my purpose fulfilled. What is that purpose? Universal love, universal compassion. But everywhere there is an ego. So the driver's seat is already occupied. Some few get out of the driver's seat, then the God comes or the reality comes and sits. This is just a simile I am giving. It comes and then the greater purpose is fulfilled through that equipment. And now he has come to quell the darkness of mere logic by providing a living example of abidance in Brahman. Living example. He was in us, among us, born as us, and yet established in that infinite truth, not for 1 year or 2 years, entire, from age 17 onwards.
54 years.
54 years?
He never went out of
Tiruvannamalai. So, yeah, once he came from his parents' place, he never went away from there. So, entire life, he was a beacon showing the pathway to all the persons who came and were available to him. Where are we? first verse. We are finishing quickly, good. Kumbhayoni mukhamani pujite, Kumbhayoni mukhamani pujite, Dravide vachasi vishrutam kavim, Dravide vachasi vishrutam kavim, Drushtavantamajaram param mahaha, Drushtavantamajaram param mahaha, Kevalam dishanaya gurum vina, Kevalam dishanaya gurum vina, Kumbhayoni mukhamani pujite, Dravide vachasi vishrutam kavim, Drushtavantamajaram param mahaha, Kevalam dishanaya gurum vina. He is a poet of renown in Tamil, the language adored by Agastya and other sages, the eternal light supreme. He beheld with his own inner light, unaided by a guru. This is another very important point. If it clicks, it clicks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. There is nothing right and wrong, but this is another aspect to the approach to reality, where everywhere we say, we need a guru, we need a guru, we need a guru. We are seeking a guru who looks like us, who has two hands, two legs, who was once upon a time confused, now he is not confused. I think he is a good guru. He has lived life like us. See? But who is our Raman Maharishi? Who never had a guru. He never took shelter under wings of any teacher. But he was courageous enough to seek the guru within. That possibility is for us also, but we are lazy. That's why we want books. That's why we want lectures. That's why we want sadhana. Please tell me, I'm at your mercy. What bloody hell mercy? Kick them. Akkalkot Maharaj used to hit them with danda. With a stick, he used to hit them. And people used to come to get hit. Why? With one hit, all the sins cleared. You read nowadays in Marathi channel, his series is going on. Such wonderful. He just, someone said, I don't want you anymore. Get out from here. He used to literally, as if he is a piece of dirt. Yet people will keep coming to him. But because they are ocean of nectar, compassion, love. So in those words of get away from here or screaming at them or hitting them, but it is only because he wants them to realize who they are, not become a dependent person. We must see, no teacher will allow anyone to hang on. Our teacher also doesn't allow us to hang on. He says, I have no disciples. We say we are his disciples. All of us, we say, he is our teacher, we studied with him, we are his disciples. But people ask him, Swamiji, you don't have ashram, you don't have disciples, how many disciples do you have? He says, no, I don't have any disciples. You think I am a donkey to carry the load of disciples? I don't want anyone's responsibility. I didn't give them to bring them to life. They can find their own way. I have given them the knowledge. They have studied with me. They have spent time with me. Now go find your own way to the truth. Don't be dependent. The more we are dependent, the more we are not allowing the potentiality to expand. Our mind because that dependency will eventually turn into infatuation, it will turn into attachment, it will turn into dependency, it will turn into whatever. You can give many emotions. Emotionally you will be dependent. See? Like in Bible it says, don't take the water to the horse, or don't take fish to the needy. Teach the needy how to fish, so that they become independent. उसके बाद After teaching them, run away from there. Don't allow them to follow you. So same thing. True Guru. If some Guru Mahatma is fixing you, come, I will initiate you. Gaya kaam se. You are stuck with him for life. Not only this life, next life also. They are busy collecting devotees. They are busy collecting disciples. They are busy collecting ashrams. They are busy collecting wealth. They are busy collecting whatever. For what is their intention, we don't know. But true Guru, his teaching is such that you become free and you stand in your own self all by yourself without any support. That is the intention of true Guru. Not make you dependent on him or her. And that such was our Ramana Maharshi. He did not seek any Guru out and he did not become a Guru to anyone. Yet the serving goes on. So here when it says, where are we? Unaided by. He is a poet of renown in Tamil. He composed, because Tamil was his first language, I think, so he composed many compositions in Tamil, and without the knowledge of Sanskrit, he translated them into Sanskrit also. I can't remember the names which he translated, you know. I heard that of them, but I can't read it. So that one is there. He wrote first in Tamil and then he translated into Sanskrit.
When he was walking, somebody wrote,
He chanted it.
And somebody,
See?
it just came out.
It just came out of his mouth. There you go. So I have not read everything about him, but here it is. See? Because the literature there for Ramana Maharshi is vast. I have bought all the books, quite a few books, but I have not gone through all of them yet. The eternal light supreme beheld with his own inner light. So he is established in the self as the self without any support. That's where eventually every one of us has to get to. As a spiritual seeker, that is your goal, that is your destination, that is your natural state. See? When you don't accept that, then you become dependent. What do you dependent? My Lord Ram will help me. My Krishna will help me. My Shiva will help me. It is dependency. If you are devotee, then merge into the Shiva and finish yourself off completely. Then only Shiva will express through this form. Have the courage. Till that is not happening, you are dependent. He is the source of power and you want to satisfy your desires. That's all is going on. You are not having the courage to merge because it's convenient. It's convenient. See? Best is not get exposed to anything, be an empty pot. In that empty pot, by coincidence, by grace of God, sadhana automatically begins. And it will chart a path out for you. But when you have studied, Acha, what are you doing? You are studying Ramana Gita. I will also study Ramana Gita. Get thoroughly confused after that. And then after that, Acha, what are you studying? Jnaneshwari. Acha, I will study. So why you are studying Jnaneshwari? Yeah, Ramana Gita was too heavy. So to remove that, I studied Bhagavad Gita. Then Bhagavad Gita was too heavy. Chalo, Ramayana padhte hai, story hai. After studying Ramayana, and he gave me one example. Someone was reading Ramayana, and what is that? Aap batao?
कौन सा example?
Oh, Pashunari wala.
हाँ, ढोल गवार शूद्र
So,
पशुनारी
it comes in Ramayana, Dhol Gawar Shudra Pashunari
सकल ताड़ना के अधिकारी
Sakalata Tadana ke adhikari. They are worthy of being what you call punished or whatever. So this comes in. Now there the word Nari is totally different meaning, but in common parlance Nari means a woman and she is being considered, so you can hit the tabla. This is dhol. This dhol, you hit dhol, pashu, gawar.
Dhol Gawar.
Gawar. Gawar is a uncouth person. He is also you can hit him also. Then pashu, you hit animal. You have a stick in your hand, give them direction. And woman also you do that. So he said, I think Tulsidas ji made a mistake, so he chants everything, but he misses out that line. Because wrong understanding of the verse, not complete understanding. Now these are modern professors, huh? These are modern spiritualists, modern devotees who are ready to correct what great masters have given to us. But anyway, that I think that thought will come in our next verse or the verse after. But here it is that the even as a young boy, this Venkatraman was the name of Ramana Maharshi when he was young. He had the courage to drop everything and seek the truth out all by himself in himself. If we go out of the house, where will the food come from? Who will give me the morning tea? Where will I live tonight? See, you must try. When we go on Tirtha Yatra, we live in 4-5 star hotels. But you should go by yourself. Go to some place where nobody knows you. Put on these clothes. I have got many spare. Put on these clothes. And maybe I'll spoil it a bit and then give it to you. And then take a bowl. Bowl also I'll give you. And go around. Taking the name of the Lord and not expecting anything. Do it for 2-3 days. Do it for 1 day to begin with. You will be surprised what your mind goes through. You need to expose yourself to these possibilities. Every year, a grahastha, every year, he must go away for 2-3 weeks and spend some time. Where they go? Refreshed. Because then everything is looked at in the proper perspective. Because you have learned to live without anything and you're still alive, man. And nothing has happened. You're sleeping under a tree or on the landing outside the temple, or you ask someone, can I have accommodation for tonight? I'm a wandering sadhu. They will give, you will see the compassion. And this is what we saw when we traveled 3 months all over India. So many ashrams, so many people, they just respected this cloth. They just respected this cloth. They gave dakshina, they gave food, they gave accommodation, they transported us, they even gave us train tickets. They buy the train ticket and give it to us. Please aap jaiye, I will give you the ticket. Where do you want to go? Please tell us. In the middle of the night, they will stop the truck. The truck driver also, Baba, kahan ja rahe ho? Hum Gokarna ja rahe. Gokarna you are going. Chalo, get onto the truck. Got onto the truck. This cloth, if it were any other cloth, then you see how caring people are, how giving people are. But that is one side. The other side is how abusive people are. Young fellow, begging, can't do any work, all good body and mind, go and do some work. Begging on the streets. Such people are also there, wanting everything free. So you got both. You have to, and that 2-3 weeks, in those 3 months, our job is to watch our mind. No reaction. If someone gives, be like Ramchandra ji. If someone praises you, gives you, helps you, thank you, but no becoming emotional. If someone insults you, not becoming emotional. If you read the biography of Ramana Maharshi, when he was in the temple, the kids used to trouble him. They used to persecute him, they used to throw him in the... But he never reacted. He was self-oriented. such was the disposition of Ramana Maharshi. Continuing, Balakepi jada gopakepi va, Balakepi jada gopakepi va, Vanarepi shuniva khalepi va, Vanarepi shuniva khalepi va, Panditepi pada samshritepi va, Panditepi pada samshritepi va, Pakshapatarahitam samekshanam, Pakshapatarahitam samekshanam, Balakepi jada gopakepi va, Vanarepi shuniva khalepi va, Panditepi pada samshritepi va, Pakshapatarahitam samekshanam. In a boy, a dull cowherd, a monkey, a dog, a knave, a scholar or a devotee, everywhere he beholds the same being and is without the least partiality. This is the equanimous vision. Equanimous vision means where the differences are perceived but not reacted to. Eyes are perceiving the differences, but there is no one behind to own the differences. Why? Where is the eye gone? Eye has come to realize I am all that there is. So, if everything is me alone, everything is consciousness alone, what example I gave before of the ocean and the wave? For ocean, all waves are it only. So, can it have partiality towards this wave or that wave? I think tsunami is a very destructive wave. I will teach it a lesson. This gentle wave, I love it. It is so gentle, it is so soft, it is so without creating any ripple, it is not disturbing me. Can ocean say that? No. For him, from ocean's point of view, all the expressions of water, including eyes, are ocean only. Same is the disposition of such a master. He does not. Normally, what happens if someone gives you lot of respect, you tend to favor that person. If someone is serving you diligently, you tend to save that person. If someone is talking bad about you, you keep that person away from you. If someone is giving more dakshina, you have special favor for that person. If someone doesn't give you dakshina, hey, ये तो फालतू है, खिलाता भी नहीं है, दक्षिणा भी नहीं देता, दूर हो. This is the natural way of people. If I call you for food once, twice, and you never call me, 2-3 times I called that family and they have never called me back. What type of friends they are? You start judging, isn't it, straight away? I brought present for their children. Last 5 years I have been buying present for their children. And they have not bought even one piece of present for my child. What type of friends these are? Yesterday this young girl was there. And someone gave me $50 because they got the job. So she was sitting on my lap. I said, Lavanya, money, we'll buy something for you. I want a necklace. So I said, okay. No, Swamiji, I want necklace, I want a ring, I want a bracelet, and the whole list, she knows all the names. I said, all this cannot come in $50. 4.5-year-old. So, we do not discriminate. Such a person, the realized sage that Ramana Maharshi is, for him all people are equal. But then why do we see them behaving in a particular way with one person? They are mirrors. If someone comes with love, love is expressed. Someone comes with anger, anger is expressed. Ramana Maharshi was not like that. He was always equanimous. And that it is a disposition of all inclusivity as I, as the self. Continuing. Shaktimantamapi shanti sanyutam, Shaktimantamapi shanti sanyutam, भक्तिमन्तमपि भेदवर्जितं भक्तिमन्तमपि भेदवर्जितं वीतरागमपि लोकवत्सलं वीतरागमपि लोकवत्सलं देवतांशमपि नम्रचेष्टितं देवतांशमपि नम्रचेष्टितं शक्तिमन्तमपि शान्तिसंयुतं भक्तिमन्तमपि भेदवर्जितं वीतरागमपि लोकवत्सलं देवतांशमपि नम्रचेष्टितं full of power yet full of peace, full of devotion yet full without a sense of difference, free from likes yet loving all the world, God manifest yet in conduct humble. All contradictions given here. What is that? Full of power, yet when power corrupts, power makes you dictate. And here, even though he has the potentiality is under his control, the mind is under his control. In other words, the mind is, he is seeing the mind also as the self alone. So the full potentiality is available, but he is not misusing the potentiality to, because why he is not misusing? No desires only. Everything is the self. So, yet at peace. Who has peace? If you are at your complete renunciate, no expectations, no regrets, abidance in the self, yet. See, someone says, I don't like being rich. Huh? Many people say, some person used to live with us. He used to hate rich people. I think all the students who have come to stay with us, stay here, Swamiji, their parents must have made black money and that's why they are able to send these children here. One day I took him, I said, you know, they have taken loan for $50,000, $80,000 from the bank and then come here. How dare you say that like that and make them feel whatever. Who are you to judge that they have made black money? Every person is not like you. No. What is that? I am not corrupt person. Their parents are corrupt, that's why they are able to send. I am not corrupt, therefore I can't even travel outside Glen Beverly. That is their assessment of themselves. See, power means you have all the food in front of you, you don't eat. Or you eat only what is required. You have all the money, you have earned all the money, but you don't use it for yourself. That is dispassion. You have the capacity, you have done it in life. See? You have the capacity. To us also, two people in my life have offered me land and house and ashram. Swamiji will build this. What do you want me to do then? Swamiji will come here, will allow all organizations to come and do this and that. I said, what I will do? No, you stay here. We can visit you whenever we want. Oh, so you want a caretaker of the ashram? You want a manager for the ashram? You want a maintenance personnel for the ashram? After renunciation, do all this. And I know my classmates have got caught up in it. One of them has an ashram in Tiruvannamalai itself, the outskirts of Tiruvannamalai. Swamiji told, you get into this, you will get caught for the rest of your life. Beware. But desire is strong, no? When you are at that, you're in these robes, you have your mind you have purified your mind. In that purified mind, automatically the whole universe keeps one desire. 100 people will come to satisfy that desire. Question is, are you going to satisfy or you are going to remain renunciate? You are going to remain equanimous towards it. Now he's calculating. He wants, so I want to build this building, so I need more funds. Emails come. Now we are building the temple, we need funds. Now we are building another room, we need funds. There's no end to it. See, our classmate only, he is Mahamandaleshwar now in Rishikesh somewhere. 50,000 rupees, this is about 3-4 years ago, 50,000 rupees per month just to cover the expenses of the ashram. Now 2 years of lockdown, where is the money going to come? I don't know what is going on. But trip here, trip there, everywhere, only one thing. How do I collect more funds? Because I have got this huge Rakshas sitting behind me, whom I am the boss. And what is this Rakshas wanting? More money, more money, more money. I need maintenance. The brick is breaking, the plumbing is breaking, the electrical is breaking, the weeds are growing, the wall is breaking down, the floods are coming. The continuous maintenance. So what is power? Power is when you have, and that is one way. That I thank God, I went through all that, did everything, then renounced. Now there is no question of getting caught up in anything because I tasted it. See? But then new challenges, because now whatever comes at a heightened level. But at that time only our dedication towards the ultimate goal, that alone protects us. The reverence towards the self. Continuing quickly. So, yet full of power, yet full of peace. Why? Total dispassion towards the power. Second one, full of devotion. Devotion can only be to the other where there are differences. I have devotion towards God, God is separate from me. So, full of devotion, yet without a sense of difference. When Hanumanji says, "Oh Ram, when I consider myself a soul, I am a part of you, and when I consider myself to be Atma, the conscious self, there is no difference between you and me." Knowing this, he continues to sit at the feet of Sri Ram and Sita. Adhyatma Ramayana. Here also, Hanumanji nahi hai there. Hey, he's there. He's always at the feet of Ram and Sita. He knows that he is not other than them. This is greatness. Then third one, free from likes and dislikes, no raga dvesh. So no attachments, no infatuations, no desires, yet unconditionally loving the entire creation. God manifest, yet in conduct humble, having all potency. He is God-like, but down to earth. All Mahatmas, you will find them down to earth. They will not have the arrogance, I am a Mahatma. Don't misbehave with me. Sharp de dunga. I will curse you if you misbehave with me. No, because they have the power to curse. They can. See, power corrupts. This cursing is the corruption. So even though Ramana Maharshi is the God manifest on earth, Subramanya Swami in the third incarnation as Ramana Maharshi, yet he is humble as. We'll just read once each, otherwise it's already time. Eshayami piturantikam mamat, Veshmami piturantikam mamat, Veshanam tu na vidhiyatamiti, Veshanam tu na vidhiyatamiti, Samvilikhya gruhato vinirgatam, Samvilikhya gruhato vinirgatam, Shona Shaila Charanam Samagatam, Shona Shaila Charanam Samagatam. Writing down the message, this goes to the presence of the Father. Let no search be made for me. He left home and arrived at the foot of Arunachala. When Ramana Maharishi, as Venkat Ramana, the young boy, when he decided to leave home, he decided, now it's time, I'm going. The fire was burning like anything. He took that piece of paper, he wrote down these words, that this goes to the presence of my Father. This goes means this body goes to the presence of my Father. Who is the Father? Arunachala or the Lord Shiva. Let no search be made for me. And this scribble on the paper. You can see it even today. If you go to his mother's samadhi, there inside the room, this is there in a, it is kept there. When, how many decades ago it was, the last century. So please do not make any search for me. See? And in this manner, he left home and arrived at the foot of Arunachala. He didn't even know Arunachala. Someone told him. He was searching for the eye. Then someone told, hey, you know, Arunachala is a very powerful place. You go there. Immediately, the moment he heard the word Arunachala, something ignited inside of him. Intuitively, he came to know. Because he was continuously contemplating on eye, the mind was quiet. In a quiet mind, suddenly the spark lighted. This is the place. This is my karma bhumi. I am saying that, he didn't say that. But this is where it is. And a natural attraction to that place. You could have migrated anywhere. Why did you come here only? You could have married any woman or any man. Why did you marry this person and this woman only? See? So it was a natural pull towards the Arunachala. And he stayed there, as he said before, that 57, 54 years he stayed in Arunachala. Out of that 18 years, the first 18 years, he was in the Skandashram or the Virupaksha cave. 18 years he spent all by himself, without a guru, contemplating only on who am I? What a commitment. Huh? After 4 or 5 classes, we want to go home and lie in the bed and watch this one. See?
And he never use in Tamil the word I. Say this goes.
This goes. Yes. He's talking it as a third person. This goes. This is, if you read the biography of Swami Ramatirth, he also he says, his name was Ramatirth. He never ever used the word Ramatirth. He never used the word I. He said, Ram wants to go. Not this Ram. This wants to go. And so when you start using this language, automatically this needs to go to Arunachala. This is going to its father. So this is what you are watching this. So this is a flower. This is a flower because it's separate to me. No, this is a flower. I don't say I is the flower. So this is going to Arunachala. This is going to the father. So you are watching this as separate to yourself. That is the experience that he had when he had out of body experience. See? Continuing. Idrusham gunaganairabhiramam aing Idrusham gunaganairabhiramam Idrusham gunaganairabhiramam Prashrayena ramanam bhagavantam Siddhalokamahimanaam aparam Prushtavanamrutanatha yatindraha. O Bhagwan Ramana, thus happily endowed with the wealth of auspicious qualities, Amrutanatha Yatindra humbly inquired concerning the boundless glory of Siddhas of Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi. So this is a question being placed again towards the conclusion of the Sri Ramana Gita. Ramana Gita concluded in that 17th chapter, but this last chapter is the glory, it is the outpouring of love and respect and reverence and towards his Guru Maharaj. Towards his Guru Maharaj and of Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi, thus happily endowed. When you should ask any question to a master, when they are in a happy disposition, Who is this happily endowed Ramana? Amritanatha. He is the giver of the nectar. See? Humbly inquired concerning the boundless glory of the Siddhas. To such a at peace, abiding Sri Ramana Maharishi, this seeker, Ganpati Muni, he asked him about the glory of the Siddhas. And then he says, and what was the answer? So till now, till 24th verse, he was singing the glory of one Siddha alone, which is Ramana Maharishi. Now he comes to the question, and that is, please tell me the glory of the Siddhas. And what did Ramana Maharishi say? Ahatam Bhagavan Gavasi, Ahatam sa Bhagavan Gavasi, Siddhaloka Mahima Tuduruha, Siddhaloka Mahima Tuduruha, Te Shivena Sadrusha Shivarupaha, Te Shivena Sadrusha Shivarupaha, Shaknuvanti cha varanya pidadutam, Shaknuvanti cha varanya datum, sorry, Shaknuvanti cha varanya pidatum. He says, to him Sri Bhagavan, dweller on the holy hill, replied, the glory of the Siddhas is beyond imagination. You cannot catch the greatness of the Siddha Purusha, who are, I told you already in the beginning, who Siddhas are. You cannot catch the glory, you cannot put, because you come across a Siddha as a form, as a person. And you are trying to capture him with words, you are trying to understand him through your mind. But he cannot be caught by the words or the mind. Therefore he says that the dweller on the holy hill replied, the glory of the Siddhas is beyond imaginations. Imaginations is by way of thoughts and words, name and form. You cannot catch them in those two parameters. They are equal to Shiva. Indeed, they are the very form of Shiva. They have the power to grant every prayer. So who are these? They are none other than Shiva himself. So, is Ramana Maharshi being arrogant? No. See, in Bhagavad Gita, many people are having this problem. Then Krishna says, Ananyashchintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityaviyuktanam yogakshemam bhamyam. Bhagwan is saying, anyone who exclusively is devoted to me, Ananyashchintayanto mam, who continuously contemplates, puts his thoughts on me, on me. So professors of university, pseudo Vedantists, full of themselves, like that fellow who said Tulsidas ji made a mistake in composition. Such people, they say, Krishna is having a great ego. How can you say that you think of me? Who does he think himself? He is also having two legs, 2 hands, 5 senses, mind. He was also born from Devaki. He also finished his incarnation. If they finished, he also died. They say died. He has got a big ego. Yes, he has some powers. So he has got a bigger ego because he has got more powers. Therefore, he is having this arrogance of saying, anyone who thinks of me, I will take care of all his needs and wishes, whatever he has and whatever he needs. And there are many places in Bhagavad Gita where he says like that. And these fellows come to the conclusion that Krishna is the most arrogant of all the people. Now, what can be told to such people? What can be told to such people? What can be told to such people who live in this society? They don't believe in Ram or Krishna, but they are priests. They don't believe in Ram Krishna. They say, no, they are not gods, they are just great beings. That's all. See? So here Bhagwan is answering. And today's philosophy, today's doctorates, I know few of them here in Melbourne who have done doctorates in philosophy. All humbug. Take, copy, paste. Change the words because they are good at words. There is nothing substantial in their research. Nothing. They are actually, and who are their sources? All the British philosophers who concocted the whole philosophy to brainwash the local masses. This is everywhere it has happened, not only in India, everywhere. South America it happened, Aborigines it has happened, Hawaii it has happened. See? So, here Raman Maharishi is clearly saying it is not a topic, the Siddhas are not a topic of discussion, they are not a topic which can be perceived, understood by the senses, talked about by the speech or be comprehended by the mind or intellect. They cannot be. Why? They are God himself, they are Shiva himself or God himself. They are that infinite one itself. And who is this infinite? Having no parameters, having no boundaries. How can you, that infinite, how can you make it finite? Because your thoughts are finite, beginning and ending. Your concepts are finite, beginning and ending. Your imaginations are temporary, beginning and ending. And who is the Siddha? He is infinite, beginningless and endless. How can the mind which is conditioned, which is limited, think of the infinite who is unconditioned, unlimited? And this is our question to you. This is what all Mahatmas must be looking at, all the seekers. And this is funny personality number 1, funny personality number 2, funny personality number 3. Why? That infinite is your essential nature, but expressing through this finite body. What a funny expression it is. And that is the uniqueness that is expressing around them. So they smile, my daughter is dying, my husband is sick. His master continues to smile. He doesn't get affected. Because for you, that relationship is most important. For him, equanimity is his natural state. Yours also equanimity is natural state. But you have lost the plot and you are holding on to the conditionings, supports, identifications, and then defining yourself. Here is a Siddha who has not only first separated himself from all the conditionings, but also come to be established in that which is infinite. And this is the final statement. There may be something more which he has said. No, I am giving you the gist of the whole thing. I think some stories are given and everything. We don't have to go into that. We'll conclude now with this 26th verse. So don't try to understand Raman Maharishi. Don't try to understand. Don't try to understand great masters. Then what should we do? Surrender. Try to realize wherever they are established, you be established. Because the self in them and the self in you, intellectually you know it is the same. But abidance wise, you are falling short. We are falling short somewhere. So, इति श्री रमण गीतासु ब्रह्म विद्यायां योग शास्त्रे रमणान्तेवासिनो वासिष्ठस्य गणपते रूपनिबन्धे सिद्ध महिमानुकीर्तनं धाम अष्टादशोऽध्यायः. This is the 18th chapter entitled on the glory of Siddhas in Sri Ramana Gita, the signs of Brahman and the scripture of yoga, composed by Ramana's disciple Vashishta Ganapati Muni. बोलो रमण भगवान की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय. हर हर नमः पार्वती पते, हर हर महादेव. बोलो अरुणाचल 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 भगवान की जय।
स्वामी परमानंद जी की जय।
जय। परमानंद तुम्हारे अंदर है, बाहर नहीं है, बाहर मत देखो। She said परमानंद की जय। I said Paramananda is not outside, he is in your heart everywhere. Paramananda means infinite bliss. Again you are concretizing that. The moment you concretize, it is the idiot standing in front of you.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Hariya.
On behalf of all of us, thank you very much to make last 2 days.
Yes, I enjoyed. I couldn't have contemplated with such intensity for 2 days without you all. Such बात है. I can't do this type of contemplation on my own. So equal credit goes to you that you didn't lie in your bed and watch on Zoom. You came, and because of you, I am inspired. I'm sorry, I'm just teasing you guys. I'm teasing you guys. You can stay where you are. No worries. I'm just taking the mickey out of you. That's all. Because you're giving me a chance. Because I have put you on mute. No, thank you very much.
Unmute you, Swamiji.
Hariom Shri.
We can unmute.
Okay. No, I didn't mean I mute you on the laptop. I said I muted you in my mind. No, thank you everyone, and we'll plan something again in the new year. So with these thoughts about the glory of the Siddhas, let's jump into the new year on a positive note to commit to our own essential nature. That's what is more important. All this is just triggers to keep us on the right path.
And thank you, Swamiji, for this retreat as well as for allowing us to join the Zoom. I personally feel that I haven't lost anything in 2 years. Like we were still